Hello everyone, let's talk about subsets problem on Leetcode today, Leetcode 78. It says that given an integer array nums of unique elements, return all possible subsets. The solution set must not contain duplicate subsets. Return the solution in any order. So it's, for example, in the example 1, we can see that we get an empty set, then we get elements 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 3, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. So in total, we get like 8 subsets, and this is called like a power set of a set. And the problem is like we have to generate those. So because we have to generate, it's not like we have to find the number of number of subsets, or we have to find the minimum number of something. So we can't use some algorithm like dynamic programming or some other greedy approach. We have to just run the algorithm called backtracking. To explain this problem using backtracking, I have pre-drawn this tree so that you don't have to look at my bad handwriting. The idea of backtracking is simple. So we start with our input array 1, 2, 3 and assume that green arrows means that we include and orange arrow means we exclude. Suppose we take or exclude 1, right? That's the first element we have in the list. So if we take it, it will become 1 as a next state, like whatever you want to call it. Let's call it node for now. And if we take an empty, we don't take it, then we get an empty node for now. Then we go to the next state for 2, and similarly we will go for the 3 as well. So again, should we take 2 or not? And if we take 2 at this step, we will see okay that our set becomes 1, 2, and if we don't take it, we will get 1. Similarly, if we take 2 for the empty set, we will either get 2 or we will get an empty value. Then we go to the next element, which is 3, and then we will again decide, should we take 3 or should we not, or should we exclude it? So again, the set becomes 1, 2, 3. If we exclude it, it will become 1, 2. Similarly, in this case, we will get like 1, 3 or 1, depending on we include or exclude. In this case, we will get 2, 3 or 2. And finally, it will become 3 or what you say, empty. So if you see, like we got like 2 to the power of n as an answer. Like for 3 elements, we get 8 what you say, subsets. Now coming to the time complexity part, I think this will still be 2 to the power of n. Why? Because at each step we are processing, we are either including or excluding, so that will require 2, right? And how many steps are there? So for us, it will be equal to the number of elements, so it will be 2 to the power of 3. Similarly, for array with size n, it will be 2 to the power of n. So that is the time complexity. We can't get better than this. Actually, it should be n into 2 to the power of n because we are also iterating over n elements, and then we are choosing or not between them. So this is the total time complexity. Now let's jump into the code just to see how we can code this backtracking algorithm. First thing we do is like we will create our answer answer list, right? Once we do that, I think the next thing is we will start the DFS. So we will need to pass the nums starting index, because if you remember, we start from 1. For example, we can also start from the end up to us, but let's start from start of the array. And then we will also need answer that we need to pass, and we also need to pass the current sub answer that we need to handle. I will explain why. And in the end, we will just return the answer, assuming our DFS works. So now let's jump into the DFS part. So we don't have to return anything because we are just adding sub answers to the answer list. First thing is like this DFS is just generating the sub answer. Yeah, now that we have defined this signature, I think we can just do what we have to do. So first thing is like if our index or the value which we are trying to get is out of bounds in array, we should just return. We should just add answer to our list, right? And I will explain why we are doing this. So assume that sub answer contains some values. When we do new array list, it's actually creating a new list, because if I add the sub answer, this will actually always be more what you say, modified based on the current path where we are. And that's why we should always do new array list just to avoid mutability issues in Java, and just return. And once we have done it, we can just say, okay, so if you remember, at each point we have to now take a decision whether to take the value or not, or include the value or exclude it. This is where sub answer comes in. So it actually helps us include the value or exclude the value depending on what we want to do. And that's why we need it. So it will just contain the current paths subset, not the full path. And whenever we find a subset or we reach the end of the like a DFS tree, we will just add it to our answer. So once we do that, now just let's do that. So nums, now we will go to the next element, right? And once we go to the next sub answer and answer stays the same, right? We just pass on. Now that we have passed in, so we have to also handle the second case. So now if you remember, we have to also exclude this answer. So we will just say sub answer dot in Java we can, because we just edit at the end of the list, we will just remove it also from the end of the list. So we will just say sub answer dot size -1, right? And finally, we will again do the DFS. So it will be nums idx plus 1. Like depending on whether we take or not, we will always go to the next index element, pass on the answer and sub answer. And that's it, guys. I think let's now run this code. Oh, there is some issue here. It's because I should use add. And now just submit the code. I hope this video was useful to you. If it was, please like and share, and also comment how I can do better, or if you want to see some other problem. Thanks again. Have a nice time.